Welcome to the Green Wasp Removal YouTube channel. In this episode, we continue training and mentoring the Manchester University Wasp survey team on July 22nd, 2024, as two of our most fearless female team members remove two aggressive bald-faced hornet nests and collect the live wasp specimens for venom immunotherapy. As you'll see in this episode, both of these team members were rock solid under pressure. There were hundreds of bald-faced hornets trying to sting them, attack their face, spray venom in their eyes, yet both of them stayed super cool and got the job done. That's what we like to see on this team. Professional venom collection is not for everybody. It takes a certain personality type, a certain skill set, and sharp minds to do this safely and effectively. And these two team members were extremely professional as they collected a lot of worker wasps for venom immunotherapy, and they were able to get a good amount of data on this nest. We keep a detailed logbook of every nest we collect. The measurements have to be right. The data has to be solid. The science behind what we do as a team is very important to the work overall. As soon as this efficient pair of field operators got the first nest down, they went on to the second property and started battle with the next bald-faced hornet nest, this one attached to a rental property. For the safety of the tenants in the rental property and the property maintenance staff who have to deal with the landscaping just a few feet from this nest, this one had to go. As always, our super talented team took care of business, and they always do it with a smile. You can't beat working with people like this in the field. Their attitude is always 100% positive. They're always fully engaged, and they're just flat out professional. They do a great job, and we're happy to work with them. As you see here, the second nest produced quite a good collection as well. So this day was very productive, and we got a lot of worker wasps and a lot of venom collected for venom immunotherapy patients. This video will show you the entire process of removal for both nests, the collection of the adult wasps, and these two field operators will show you exactly how they go back to base and freeze these wasps in dry ice. That's frozen CO2 to preserve the venom for venom immunotherapy. That process is interesting, and if you haven't seen it, it's worth a look. We keep about 50 pounds of dry ice on hand all the time in a very highly insulated cooler, and that's what we use in the field when we come back with live specimens. We then date the bags, as you see here. Jillian is writing up the date and the name of the species, and then they go ahead and take the wasps out after they've been frozen for 15 or 20 minutes, and they transfer them into a specimen baggie. And once this process is complete, the specimens are prepared to be put into long-term storage in a chest freezer for the rest of the season until they can be shipped out to the biolabs at the end of the season. Each member of the Manchester University Wasp survey team is instructed and trained on these methods, so they know the whole process from field collection to freezing. And then we'll show you how we relocated the brood combs from these two nests into a unique free-range habitat. This was a repurposed live trap animal cage, which was suspended from a strap between two trees. This simulates a tree mount in the wild. And even though one came off a house and one came off a tree, we put them both together to see what would happen as an experiment, and we just left it alone for a week. And as you can see here, they're separated at this point. There's workers inside these nests, and there's queens inside these nests, we believe. A week later, here you see they have turned these two nests into one. All of the paper now covers both nests, and they've rebuilt down below this cage a new entry point for the wasps, and it was very busy and very active. So this was a very successful relocation. So we were able to start collecting for venom immunotherapy again with both of these nests as one. And this worked out to be very productive. We had a lot of worker wasps coming and going. They were not so happy to be collected, so they were trying to spit venom, had to put some eye protection on, which made it a little more comfortable. But it ended up being super productive, as you can see here. We got another whole collection out of that, and to this day, as of the posting of this video, we are still collecting from this same dual nest that became one large nest. These were two very productive nests that illustrate exactly why we always attempt to save the brood combs for ongoing incubation. So let's take you back now to July 22nd. We're going to take you through the entire process on both removals, the freezing process, and the relocation incubation process. If you enjoy our channel and the episodes we upload and you learn from them, please remember to share, like, subscribe, and comment to let us know you're there. Thanks for riding along with us. Enjoy the show.
It's July 22nd, 2024. Today, the Manchester University Wasp survey team members Jillian and Elise are out to work a bald-faced hornet nest. As you can see, we have a nest here that's hanging low in a tree. And what this causes is a pretty serious risk. It's almost at head height. When someone does any landscaping or lawn mowing, that's a very dangerous place for a nest to be. They could be attacked immediately just for startling these beneficial native wasps. Now, if you just left them alone in an area where you're not mowing the lawn, that's just fine. These are great wasps to have on your property because they go ahead and reduce the pest population of insects. All the pest insects, they feed their larvae, flies and other types of pest insects. That's what they feed on. So they're really beneficial for the ecosystem. But when they're in a place like this, where it becomes a danger to people, they have to go. So we're going to collect this nest. We're going to collect the adults for Venom Immunotherapy. And then we're going to take the rest of the nest with the queen and the pupating larva. We're going to go ahead and relocate that so that they can live out the rest of the season on another property. As you can see, they are pretty busy today. Let's walk you up a couple inches closer and a little bit under the hole. There you go. Right about there is perfect. Great. You seeing them going in now? Yep, they're in. That's what we're looking for. Great. That pressure looks good to me. They're going in. You can see the bald-faced hornets are curious about Elise. Luckily, her visor protects her face. Her skin has no contact around the veil. That's extremely important. A lot of people make the mistake of forgetting the visor, and then their nose, their chin, their ears are against the netting, and they get stung. Elise, whenever you feel fatigued, let us know. Jillian will step in and tap you out. Collection's beginning to get contained. They're curious, but not attacking in force. So they're curious about us, they're buzzing us, but they're not attacking in force, and that's what we like to see. And Jillian, if you want to brace on the ground, you can do that. Just put the end of the pole down on the ground and you can angle it up toward it so that takes most of the pole weight. There you go. You can put it right on the ground and then scoot it up to wherever it needs to be, you know what I mean? Sometimes that'll help take some of the weight off. Ergonomically, what Jillian's doing here is bracing the pole on the ground, and that just takes most of the weight of this device off of her shoulders and her arms, and it allows you to work longer in the field without fatigue. So generally, that's the way to do it when you can, unless it's going to be a very brief job with a tiny nest. Great, still plenty of foragers. Just give it plenty of time. Just relax right where you are and let them come and go until they get themselves collected. It's interesting, they're coming out to guard, but you notice they're not all going nuts coming after us. So that's good. They'll keep coming and going and foraging that way, and we'll keep collecting them. Eventually, when the traffic slows down, we'll start picking them right off the nest. And then when it slows down more than that, we'll do the tapping again like we usually do to get them out to come out. And then after that, we'll snip the nest and contain it. All right, now we're going to see a little more activity, which is perfect. The more they come and go, the more we can collect. There you go, now we're starting to hit them. See, they're starting to get a little more aggressive, a little bit more of that attack pheromone is in the air. So they're landing on us, bouncing off the veils, bouncing off the camera even. You see this? They keep hitting the camera lens. And they'll smear it up with their sprayed venom, just like they'll try to spray us in the eyes. And you see Jillian, solid as a rock, like a wasp ninja, like a Jedi ninja wasp collector. So just stay stable. If you need to tap out, let us know. I'll back off a little bit. That way they'll calm down slightly. Yeah, this is how it was with Jaden, but it happened instantaneously on the last couple that we did. This one took a little longer to get that pheromone in the air, but you'll be surprised how quickly they calm back down if you just stay stable and just keep collecting. One after the other, they get collected, and slowly but surely, their numbers are just not enough to sustain a large attack anymore. As I stand here filming, they just keep bouncing off my veil, bouncing off my gloves. Same with Jillian. You have any issue with venom?
Not that I know of.
All right, if it starts to bug your eyes, you feel any burning or misting in your eyes, just sort of squint a little bit and that'll help. So far, so good. So when you're working this pole and you're collecting, this is the angle you see. And as you can see, Jillian's always about an inch or so below that hole, inch or two. That way you can catch them when they fly in or when they fly out. If you put it too close to the hole, they can actually land on it and crawl into the hole without getting sucked in. So it's pretty strong. So that's why you keep it separated from the hole. And if you're a wasp, your point of view would look like this. They don't like dark colored objects, so I'm going to move the tripod away to keep them from being distracted by it. The reason they're not fond of dark colors is all their natural predators in the wild, from bears to raccoons to skunks to birds, are all dark colored for the most part. And because of that, they protect very heavily against anything that's a dark color. Let's go up a little more now. And you can start picking them off right off the nest at this point because we know they're all out anyway, okay? So wherever you see them, if you happen to get a good shot, just grab them. Whenever you need a tap out, let us know. We'll give you a rest. So far, the collection looks great. That's a great number of forages already. So about that same amount of time from now, we'll probably have enough collected that we can start working on tapping the nest. I'm going to step back to just let them calm down. So you'll notice once I step away from the nest, they stop attacking me and they go back to the nest. That's the idea. We want them to come and go routinely from the nest, and that's how we collect them.
Pretty strong grip on the nest. It doesn't seem like they will get sucked in unless they let go.
Yeah, they are pretty tough. So you can knock them right off the nest a little bit whenever you need to. Yeah, it's a good collection so far already. So these adult wasps will be frozen for Venom Immunotherapy, and they will go to a very good cause, saving lives. And in the meantime, this nest that has the queen in it, and it will also have some foragers and some nest workers in it, I'm going to relocate that. We'll show you that process later on in the video. So Jillian's going to take the field measurements on this nest, and what we like to document for the data is the height the nest is off the ground and the dimensions of the nest, because for data purposes, data collection, it's important just to know at this time of year what the average size of these nests are, nest by nest. There you go.
Go 7-2
7-2.
from the ground.
Okay. If it's a little high for you, we can measure it when we get it down.
Yeah, it would be better to get more accurate.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, we'll wait till we pull it to do the final measurement on the dimensions. So 7'2", 7'2" off the ground? Okay. All right, traffic slowing down?
Yeah, I haven't seen any in
All right.
maybe a minute
Perfect. All right, there's our crew of workers. Looks great. She wouldn't be yet. She's going to be hiding up in there, which is what we want. So that's perfect. What we're going to do today is not remove any of the paper here in the field. We're just going to take the whole nest with the queen and the workers that are left in there. And we're going to cut them down, put them in a container, and then relocate them to a different tree on a different property. So today we're not going to collect our queen. But that's a great collection of workers. Good job, both of you. That was perfect. All right, so the next step here is I'm gonna pull it down a little bit so we can tap it out, and we'll just try to collect a few more of the workers. So yeah, there'll be some more coming out here. Would you please grab the tongs from the truck, and we'll start tapping it a little bit at height. Yeah, there'll be a few more coming and going because there's a bunch out that are right now outside the nest collecting pest insects and also collecting wood fiber to build the nest and put on more paper. So we'll get those as they come back. And then once Jillian has the tongs, we'll just have her tap the nest a bit and get some more of the panic reaction. That way more of the workers that are inside will come out. But so far it's absolutely perfect. Textbook again. All right, so when you're ready, Jillian, just step up and give it a few gentle taps so we can get a few more panicked. I'll take the other ones, we'll tap together on it. You ready? All right, we'll try to get a few more out of there. All right, let's step back now and let a few come back and get collected. There may not be many home anymore. All right, let's give it another tap. Okay. All right, that's a good few numbers out. Jillian and I will step back while she collects more of them. How you doing, Elise? You need a tap out there? Okay. We'll just try to let them focus on the nest instead of us. I'll take the tongs.
There's one sitting on the other side, I think.
Yeah, I think there's a back door over
There's
here.
one sitting on the other side.
Yeah, there's one there. Sometimes you can get them right out the nest. Good shot. Got him. All right. All right, Elise, whenever you feel like you can tap it.
Can I use the longer ones?
Yeah, however you like.
A little bit short.
No problem. Whatever you need to do. There you go. Just keep them kind of nervous and attacking. That way we can get them to come out and we can collect them. I think we probably are getting close to cutting it down time. That's great. So let's get a few more as we stand here for about another 5 minutes or so, collect what's flying around, and then we'll cut her down. Try to get up right near the hole on this one so we can just definitely get them when they come in. And if a couple of them go in, it's no big deal. We'll capture them and they can be some of the ones we relocate. All right, I'm gonna get the container and then we'll cut it down.
Can you bring me back to the side? You might be able to just get him. He's right there. Medium. Oh.
No problem.
He's gonna land again.
He's getting smart, he's hiding now. Or she, I should say.
There he is, yeah.
All right, so what we're gonna do is cut the nest and contain it now. And then we'll just put this up where the hole was and they'll just fly in like they were over at the other job, you remember? So that's the way to go here. Let me get the container ready and then we'll cut it.
So you can't hear the audio here very well, but what we're discussing is how the bald-faced hornets construct their nest so that it hangs in a tree, even in high wind, even in heavy rainstorms. That nest will stay on that tree almost through just about any weather. And we're telling the two team operatives here how the nest is constructed and how the support branches are built right through the nest. So no matter how hard you shake that thing, it is difficult to get it out of there unless you actually cut the branches. It's built in with the leaves holding it together. It's built in with the branches holding it together. All of that is combined inside the paper that the wasps create from wood fiber. So to get it down, you actually have to cut it.
Basically, our nest is here. Inside this nest, we're going to have the queen and a few of the workers that are hiding. Yeah, there's one in there you can see.
Well, there's two on the nest, outside the nest.
Oh, great. Yeah, perfect.
You want to suck that one
Yeah,
out?
once you get them.
Oh, yeah, there it goes.
Got one in?
Yep.
All right, so you'll see they're still trying
There's another
to
one landing on it.
come back to the nest. But basically, inside there's a few workers, there's the queen, and there's going to be a lot of pupa and larvae. And the pupae and the larvae, that's one of the biggest things we want to collect for the incubation that we're going to do of this nest when we relocate it. All right, so what we'll do is contain it, and you can mush it down a little bit to make it fit. And now let's put this right back up. And you need a switch out, or are you doing okay? Thanks. Yeah, great idea. Elise, would you handle the measurements on that? You can measure what's in the box, but just give me some dimensions on it. So what Jillian's doing now is she's putting the hole of the collection device right where the hole of the nest used to be, or as close to there as possible. And what'll happen is a lot of the foragers will come back to where that nest hole used to be. They'll explore the collection bottle hole and they'll get sucked right in. And they often collect themselves that way.
7.5 at its widest.
7.5 width.
And maybe 8 inches in height.
Okay, let's say 7.5 by 8. Thanks. All right. I'll take that and we'll put it into the shade by the truck. So here's our contained nest, and we will go ahead and take the entire nest and relocate it into another tree off-site. In the meantime, we're just going to collect whatever foragers come back to their old location. All right, Elise, I would say step back a little bit during this process, and that way there'll be less for them to attack. Let me know when you start seeing no activity at all, Jillian. In the meantime, give it, even if it's 3, 4, 5 minutes between, that's okay for now. We want to try to get as many of them as we can.
I've only seen
Head over to corners and get the bald-faced hornet nest over there. Bring it right up to the cam here, please. Take a look at what we have here today. Great job. It's a good group of foragers in there. They all look super healthy and well. Excellent work. Well done. Well done as always. So let's move on. We'll do the next bald face for the day. I'm going to cap off. Keep it on until we're capped. Okay, good to go. All right, now we have this collection capped off and contained. What we're going to do now is we're going to take it back to the barn. We're going to go ahead and freeze these, and we'll have Jillian and Elise go through the freezing process, so they're trained in on that. Jaden's already trained in on that. And then we'll move on to the next site. You ready to roll? Jillian and Elise are going to go through the Wasp freezing process. We're going to use dry ice today, which we keep about 50 pounds in our dry ice cooler all season. And that lasts about, give or take, several removals. Maybe you can get a week out of it. Then you have to refill weekly. And we get ours from a place called Purity Gas in Pierceton, Indiana. So these are the specimens we just took out of the nest in the tree, and we've got them today, July 22nd, 2024. And below them is the nest. The nest we're about to relocate, so we're going to leave that contained for now. But these wasps we're going to put into dry ice to freeze them for venom immunotherapy. So for you guys, what you need to know is we don't touch dry ice, so have your gloves on. Protect your eyes in case any of it bounces back. You don't want to ever have a chip hit you in the eye because it can damage your eye. You can touch it very briefly. It's okay with your skin, but you can't hold it. So it's not like you can never touch it at all. It's not like acid, but it'll definitely give you a cold burn if you hold it too long. So that's why we use gloves. So the way we do this is we open up the container, and there's always insulation in here because the less air you allow in here, the longer the ice will last. So you remove your insulation, then you bang it down with your fist, just gently. It's not super hard, just crush it down. It's sort of like crushed ice. Mush it all down, get it kind of ready to go. And then once you feel like it's all ready to go and it's sort of mushed around, then you take your containers and scoop out some of the ice and put it into a box like this. And then we're going to make room for that, and we're going to bury it in there. So first scoop out enough that can bury that size container. Maybe a couple more scoops, and then you're probably good to go. Because what you're doing is you're making a hole in the ice that can fit this size container, and then you're going to put ice on top of it. And the reason why we put it on top is because CO2 is what knocks these guys out. And this dry ice is frozen CO2. So we put them in here, and you bury them now. Go ahead and dump that right in on them. There you go. Fill it right up. And you notice all this is CO2 gas. When it melts, it never goes to liquid. It goes straight to gas in a process called sublimation. So there's no liquid form of CO2 in this process. But remember, this is something you don't want to take a huge breath of that because it's the same thing you exhale, but you just don't want to make yourself dizzy. Now, once you have it buried like this, you replace your insulation material so that all the air is out of the container, and you can use this too. This container here is filled with extra cardboard, and you can just stuff any kind of material like that in there. But for now, the tarp is enough. You close it up, make sure it's locked and airtight. Once you have it airtight, you're good for 15 minutes, okay? Minimum 15 minutes. It can be as fast as 5 minutes if you're in a rush, but generally we want them nice and cold. And we'll show you what that looks like when we pull it out in a minute. Jillian here is now writing the date and the species, which is Dolichovespula maculata. And that is the bald-faced hornet's scientific name. And once it's properly labeled, we then take our frozen wasps out and we put them into the baggie, and then we transfer them to a chest freezer for the season. And then at the end of the season, we take all of our specimens that's in the chest freezer and we ship them to another venom collection agency that sends them to overseas biolabs and also some in the States. So they're gloving up again just for safety. When you touch dry ice, very, very important that you wear gloves and you don't have long-term skin exposure to dry ice, because frozen CO2 will burn you as if it were hot. It's that cold. So when you're ready, go ahead and pull it out, shake the ice off of it, and then you're going to bring it right here and I'll show you what to do from there. So you set your insulation aside, we'll put it right back in a second. Anywhere is fine, just drop it right down. And pull it out and sort of tap the ice off of it very gently. We want to kind of be real careful with our wasps. And you can set the container right up here next to your bag. And then we'll replace the insulation and close up. And why don't you add some cardboard from our insulation bag until it feels like you can't put any more in. And the reason for that is we have to make sure that ice lasts as long as possible. And the way that happens is you just kind of insulate it as best you can. Keep the regular air and oxygen out of there, and that helps maintain the ice a little bit longer. That way we don't have to pick up as much and fund as much week to week. All right, you lock it back up again till it clicks. Kind of push it down hard. There you go, both sides will click there when you get them down. All right, now your wasps are frozen in here. So what you're gonna do is take your cap off and you're gonna unzip your bag. And when you do that, you'll find that some of them are already loose and they'll drop right into the baggie. Others are gonna be stuck to the container. So you have to tap the container on the table a little bit or on the cooler and just try to get them best in there. Shaking it a little bit, tap it a little bit until they come down. And you'll have to have some pressure, shaking them up a little bit to get them down into there. I usually shake it up and down a little bit, something like that. So they start dropping in. And just, as little pressure as possible, that kind of thing. Whatever it takes to get them in the bag without busting them up too much. There you go. So once you get as many out as will fall, then you just bring it over here and sort of tap it against the side. There you go. That's good. Then you look inside. How's it look?
One more.
Let's see, who's in there? Let's take a peek. Ah, there he is. So when you get one like that, or there she is, I should say, you just go like this. Boom. And if she comes out in one piece, pop it right in. Just slide her right off the table into the bag, or however you want to do it. There she is. Okay, excellent. Let's see what we have here. Our collection for today, nicely done. That's great. So you have a good collection here. Now you zip it up and you fold it over gently so you get most of the air out of it, and then zip it tight, okay? And then once you have it ready for storage, it's going to go into a chest freezer now. And what you do is I will give you bins like this, and you take it and you put it gently into the bin, close up the bin, and set the whole bin into Katie's chest freezer. And that way you guys are good. And this will last all season in her chest freezer. I'm going to go put it in mine for now, but well done. Now we're good. You guys have any questions on the ice process?
I don't think so, no.
All right, you can repeat that if you had to then? Mm-hmm. Excellent. Good to go. You and Jaden are all trained. I love it. All right, it's July 22nd, 2024. It's our second bald face removal for today. And Jillian and Elise are currently rigging up the pole. Let's see what you got. So this one I adapted so that it takes some pressure, but it actually goes in pretty good. That way it won't come out on you and it feels okay, So I think there you go. Does that work? Just double check. Whenever you're doing something, just make sure you've got tight connections, you got no seal leaks, and you're good. Okay? Thanks.
Oh, perfect, yeah.
Feel okay? All right, good. So what we're going to do now is just set your vac to whatever pressure you think you need. But first what we're going to do is just get some imagery on the nest, and we're going to check the pole height, because the pole height, generally you want to leave it on the ground and then extend it up as high as you need it, right? And I'm not sure we can quite reach it with this. We might have to extend here. Let's get your spout from the bucket. I'll grab it. Here we go. So bring it up right into the mulch area, and I'm going to get some imagery on the nest in the meantime. Watch for poison ivy whenever you're in an area like this. Here's our nest today. It's Dolichovespula maculata. You see some activity outside the hole on the bottom. It's a nicely developed nest. About halfway through its season and looks good. So what we're going to do now is try to extend our pole out high enough to maybe reach up there and touch the ground. See if you can extend it. If it's already at the max extension and the other part of it's taped, we'll just have to lift it up. All right, once you give it 50% pressure, we'll just have to hold it lower on the pole then and rise it up a little bit. Give it a little higher neck, kind of crank it up just a little more. That's probably good there. Let's try that. There you go, Jillian. That should be about good. Get it right up about an inch underneath the hole. Great. So let's just collect for a few minutes. Already starting to get a good collection of workers in there. Looking good. We're already getting some good foragers in there. All right, let's step back so they can focus on the collection. You comfortable, Jillian? All right, you let us know when you need to be tapped out and we'll relieve you. Elise is standing by, monitoring pressure, ready to step in as needed. I'm going to step back so they don't target me. I want them to target the device so we can get them into the collection container. Remember to brace your elbows on your body and just keep extending the pole up farther. That way you don't have so much weight on your arms. All right, you already have a lot of the initial attackers are already in. That's great. Good job. You're going right in. Just keep it close enough to the hole to make sure they can't get past you. No worries, yeah, just do your best. What happened is we taped off the other extension section, so I can't make it taller at the moment, but if you get tired and it becomes a problem, we'll just pull that tape and readjust it, no worries. Good, now they're starting to come out and get ready to rumble. We'll be able to get a bunch of them now. That's a good active nest. Just let us know when you need a break. We can also hand off filming duties, so if you need a break, I can help you step in. There you go, you're getting a bunch of them in. Great. Yeah, you don't have to look right at it all the time. I can help you stabilize it too. Ergonomics is a big deal in this business. You really want to take care of your body, whatever you have to do to adjust everything to your body's needs, not the other way around, you know? Go up just a little bit. There you go. You see how most of the collection's already contained? That's what we want. Pretty soon we'll tap them out a little bit, because already that collection's looking pretty good. Good job. This one's going nice and smooth as well. You guys are pros. It's going really well, it really is. You know, all the training's just kicking right in. You're doing great at this stuff. All right, we're gonna tap it a bit. Hello, little waspers, come out and play. All right, here we go. There we go. Let's tap them again. What we're doing is we're stimulating the panic response in the nest. Each time we tap them out by doing this kind of thing, it makes the ones inside have a panic reaction and attack response. And that's what we try to encourage when we get to this stage. That way it just helps the nest collection become a little more efficient. Because they're smart enough to just wait in there if you don't make them have that response. All right, let's tap them again. Come on, waspers. Let's go. Everybody out. All right, let's cap off and give them a break. So Elise is making sure there's nothing left in the spout, and we leave the vacuum on while we pull the spout, and then we cap off and turn off the vacuum. There she goes. All right, we're secure. Great. Let's see what we got so far. Nice collection. Looks beautiful. All right. So we have a bunch of workers now. The rest that are in there, we're probably going to cut down and collect into a container. All right. So we have a nice collection of workers here already. So Jillian and Elise, the next step is we're going to cut this thing down. So we're going to set up a ladder here. It's a 9-foot ladder. And we're going to begin the process of cutting the nest down and putting it into a container. But yeah, good job. I think that's good enough for now. I think we'll go straight to collecting this for relocation. And we can always collect more from a captive environment when we get it back to the field lab. Okay? All right, let's go get the ladder. All right, so what we're doing is we're going to take this container and we're going to use that to pull this nest. We're going to use tools that are very simple. Tongs, kitchen tools, spatulas. That's all you need for this type of work. You don't need any special equipment per se. This is just reused food packaging with holes in it for ventilation. And really the best thing you can do is try to keep everything within a particular budget all the time and reutilize everything you can. I can use this for 10 years. No kidding. There's no reason to throw out something like that. And these are simple household tools anybody can find. So that's the sort of thing you want to use when you can. Notice they have two sets of gloves on. The reason for that is when the gloves get wet, especially in hot weather when you're sweating, the sting is much easier to get through the glove on the wasp. So a double set of gloves protects you from a sting in the glove. You'll notice here they're spraying now. So I'm squinting my eyes and that prevents the venom from hitting my eyes. If you don't squint, you're going to take some venom in the eyes a lot of the time when they get on your veil.
Is that a big enough container?
I think this will work. I'll just compact the paper. Most of the volume of this is paper. So what you see here is the entire comb is covered in paper. So most of the volume of that nest is actually just paper. The comb itself is about the size of the bottom of this container. It's fairly small. And a lot of the workers that are in there now, and those that are attacking the glove, that kind of thing, they can be relocated with the nest. And that's what we'll do. And that way they will help support the nest when we get it into a new location. So I'm going to hand this off to you guys. Just make sure it's nice and contained. There we go. Now what we're going to do is clean up the rest of this area. Take a look at this. Focus on that if you can. You see how she's holding on with her mandibles? And then she'll try to place her stinger. So she'll both bite and sting at the same time. And then because it's a thick leather glove, she's getting stuck in there. And what's happening is in your skin, they can sting multiple times without getting stuck. But in heavy leather like this, they get stuck and they'll even disembowel themselves trying to sting you, which is what's happening to her. She's biting on and she's stinging. And believe me, you don't want to be without a suit when you do this. So we're going to let her go. Now, once you get to this stage, it's very important that you take all of the paper off of the area where the nest used to be. And the reason for that is all of these workers that were not collected yet, and we'll collect them in a moment, they'll keep coming back and congregating here, and we don't want that. We want the client to have no wasps left. So we will do two things. We'll collect these as best we can, the ones that are left, and then we'll clean this whole area with an essential oil mix and soap and water. And it's all non-toxic. It's very important. We'll just clean all the pheromone off, block the pheromone, and we'll be less prone to coming back here. So that's the next step. And any of the paper from this nest will be contained and taken away because it also has all the pheromone and it attracts them. So now we're going to put our hose back up there and we're going to collect the rest.
Got some angry wasps here. Not happy. Oh yeah. That poor one got smushed. Yeah. Oh well. It's dead, but it's still moving. I don't know if you can see that on the video. Oh, yeah, see? Interesting.
All right, the next step in this thing, you see how they're congregating up where the nest used to be. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put this hole where their hole used to be, and they will explore it instinctually. And as soon as that happens, they'll suck themselves up, typically. Got most of them. Still 1 or 2 out, so we'll give it a couple minutes. Okay, let's have Elise take over the pole and I'll start scrubbing. Just gotta catch whoever comes back. So what we're gonna do now is take a non-toxic solution. It's made of soap, water, peppermint oil, and lemongrass oil. These are scents that wasps cannot tolerate very well. And because of that, it makes a perfect way to spray down their pheromone area and to clean up areas with, and to just treat it generally when you don't want wasps in that space. So what we're going to do is pump this thing up. It's a simple pressure sprayer. And you can get these anywhere, the generic of any type. Fill it up with soap and water and essential oils, and you're good to go.
Just let me know if there's one up there.
You know what? While I do the initial spray, let's have it back up so they don't get spray on them. So we're soaking it down pretty well with the oil soap mixture, and then we're just going to scrub it off. Because you want all that paper residue removed. Do for now. And we'll wipe it down with a little paper towel. That will hopefully keep most of the returning foragers from coming back. So what we're doing here is all these little bits of paper, they all have wasp pheromone. Most of it's being covered up by oil and soap, but you want it all gone so that nothing else is encouraged to stay here or nest here, be it the same species or a different species. So we're just getting all these little bits cleared from the area, and it's just aesthetically better for the client. It's just better service as well. So Elise is capping off. We don't see any more foragers coming back, so it looks like we got most of that collection dealt with. Pretty quick and dirty. Well done, everybody. Excellent, good job. That was a nice, smooth job as well. All we're gonna do now is take this back up and give it a good wet spray down. That way, anybody else coming back is not gonna wanna stay there anymore, you know? So you really want to saturate the area well, assuming you won't harm anything you're spraying. Anything like plastic soffit or siding, you can spray pretty good. Make sure you don't inhale that mist, because you don't want to be breathing any of that essential oil or soap and water for that matter. All right, thanks for filming. It's awesome. Okay, it's July 22nd, 2024 in the evening. And what we have here is an animal cage. It's a live trap. It's suspended from a strap that hangs between two trees. And so this strap will keep this suspended indefinitely. And so what we're going to do is just leave it here for a week. And what we're going to do is take these two bald-faced hornet nests, one in here that we removed today, and another here that we removed today. And we're going to put both of these inside this animal trap that allows the wasps to escape the trap in free range and support their nest and support their larvae. And we'll check it in a week, and we'll see if either of them or both of them are still alive and functional or not. Bit of an experiment just to see if this sort of relocation is functional. And suspended from a strap like this, kind of hanging in midair, it keeps it safe from raccoons and squirrels and so forth. And some of the birds can't get in because of the tight mesh. Some of the birds can get in toward the front, but most of it's relatively well protected. The wasp can come and go, but most animals cannot reach the nest. So we'll see how this works out. We have a bunch of live foragers in here, and we believe the queen is also alive, as well as the larvae and the eggs in these nests. So let's put them in there and see how this works out. We're not sure if they're still functional or not, but if they are, we want them to be able to function relatively normally. So as you can see, the comb is still in good shape, so we're going to leave it here. We're going to cover it with its original paper. And we're going to hope that these wasps will come back and recognize their pheromones and begin rebuilding this nest. And let's see how that works out. They can get in through the sides here to get to their nest. Let's see if they can figure that out. And if these original workers are unable to figure out how to get back into the nest, that's okay. Because the comb and the queens that are inside these should be able to work together to pupate out new wasps. And those wasps will be born in these structures, and they will not have known any other world. and hopefully that will allow them to survive. And we'll come back in a week and we'll collect them for Venom Immunotherapy. So for now, let's just observe and see what they do. One of them's already found its way back in. It's looking for a way in. It looks like it found it. That's a good sign. And you can see them working on the comb. That's a good sign that this nest will be viable. So let's leave it right there and see how it does. July 31st, 2024. It's about a week after we placed this Baldfaced Hornet nest relocation. As you can see, some of the envelope is now down below the animal cage. So they have built a new opening there, and it's still quite active. You can see the wasps coming and going. And they've built onto the nest next to it. So they've turned the double nest into a single nest. All the paper now connects both of these nests. And you can see them landing there and going into the bottom hole they've made. So it appears to be a healthy, active nest. Well protected from the elements. Very busy.
As you can see in these brief clips of this old woodshed, you can see that they have discovered that they can harvest wood from the old shed and use it to build the paper on their nest. So we saw them doing that quite a bit. So we've got kind of a Franken nest here from two different removals we did. See, it's still quite active. They went ahead and built more paper down through the animal cage bottom, and they connected the two that we put in here. So there used to be one that was hanging in a tree, the other was on a house. We put them both together, and it appears they have made one nest out of these. See, they're starting to come out and get angry. So let's go ahead and collect them. They're not happy with me today. Buzzing the gloves, buzzing the face. So the fight is on. Another day at the office.
So they're staying pretty angry, but we're collecting most of them. So we're collecting a good number of foragers from this double nest here. This was actually quite successful as a relocation. So we'll do this again. It's basically strung up from a strap in the trees and is protected from animals and birds by hanging in space, fully wired up. Look at these guys camping out on this tripod. You sure don't like this tripod now. So we've got a very nice collection here. It was all pupated out and incubated in the wild here, free range. So what we're going to do is we're going to let some of the workers survive. We assume the queen is probably still in there surviving as well. So what we're going to do is go ahead and let the few that are left here survive and rebuild this nest, and we'll collect again in a couple of days. So there's our collection for today. This is the healthiest way to allow them to free range and reproduce at their own pace in nature. And you can collect them as needed from this environment. So for today, we're gonna let them calm down a little bit. So now it's time to take these lovely ladies and freeze them for Venom Immunotherapy. So the way we do that is we put them in dry ice. That's frozen CO2. Remove the insulation. This insulation preserves the ice because it takes up all the room that oxygen would be inside the container. We don't want any oxygen in there because it makes the ice sublimate that much quicker. So first we make some room. And we put our girls in. And we cover them up. It's very important that they're underneath the ice and fully buried on all sides with the ice. We give them 15 minutes and they'll be ready to come out and put into a specimen baggie, which will then be moved into a chest freezer for the season. At the end of the season, they'll be shipped to biolabs for Venom Immunotherapy products. Frozen solid. Now we can put them into a baggie marked with the species and the date.
That's it for today's episode. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.